Hello and welcome to this session everyone. My name is Yogesh Mehta. In the last few videos on Docker Swarm, we have talked about Docker Swarm basics, Docker Swarm cluster creation, and how to create services and perform the management. In this session, we are going to talk about how we can stop a manager to act as a worker. This is the one of generic question which everyone generally have on the Docker Swarm. Docker Swarm manager act as worker too? So answer is yes. By default, all managers act as worker nodes. Main reason is in a single manager node cluster, you can run command like Docker service create, and the scheduler will place all tasks on local engine. So what it means, you can have a single node swarm. So that node where you are running single node swarm, that will be acting as manager as well as worker. So that's the default way. In which scenario you want to stop a worker to be only worker, like it can't be a manager, or in other terms, you don't want your manager to act as a worker. For example, let's say on your workers, you got high compute system with 100 of CPUs, terabyte of RAM. I'm just giving example. But on your management one or your manager, you don't want high compute. You have very basic system because that node have to only send instructions and do health check of the services. So in that case, you don't want to run anything on manager. So you want to make sure your manager is acting as manager only, not as a worker too. To prevent the scheduler from placing task on the manager node in multi-node swarm, set the availability of the manager node to drain. As I mentioned in last sessions, drain mean no scheduling will happen on the node which got availability set to drain. Plus, if anything is already running, that will be moved to a working node. How you can do that? So you can use Docker node update -- availability. This is the availability drain and the manager node. So what it will do, it will make sure no new scheduling on this particular node. Plus whatever is already running, that is moved to some working node. You can see some example outputs which I already got for reference. For example, Docker node ls. When you run this one, the state was active. This is our manager, state was active. When you change its availability to drain, it's set to drain. So it will still act as a manager, but not as worker. So this availability is for workers basically. This is in drain state. So that's good. Let me give you a live example with a couple of services running. So it will make more sense to you. You can see on my screen, we got 3 services running. These 2 services got 3 replicas. This is global service, which basically assumes number of nodes you got, it will run those many replicas. And this is the current node status. We got 2 nodes and 1 manager. Manager is also acting as worker. That's the reason availability is active. So let's quickly see about this particular service. For example, replicated service. For this service, there are 3 replicas. One is running on manager, second on node 1, third is on node 2. So let's drain our manager. Press enter. You can see it's drained. So let's check the node status. It is in drain status. That's good. So let's check the same services for a replicated service. Now you can see that's something important to understand. Here on the manager, the service which was running, that got shut down and that got moved to node 1. You can see here it got moved to node 1 because earlier on node 1 only one service was running, one replica was running. Now node 1 is hosting 2 replicas. And let me give you another good example. This particular service was global service. So it assumes how many workers it got. Based on that count, it sets number of replicas. See, I haven't changed anything. If I run right now, or like earlier, it was 3 replicas and 3 were active. If I repeat this command, count should be 2 now. You can see count is 2, because by default our manager is not acting as a worker, so it got only 2 workers. So the count is set to 2 automatically. That's a way like you can drain the node, and that's a good example. It will give you more idea what drain mean. Automatically service will move to some running node. No further new scheduling will be done. If I have to give you example of new scheduling, let me do something here. I will create a new service quickly with the 5 replicas. So you can see by default it will not pick or schedule anything on the manager node. Earlier it was scheduling. I've created a service with name demo with 5 replicas. Let this command to finish. Okay, this is finished. Let's run docker service ps and the service name demo. Okay, you can see all the services are running on node 1, node 2. That's a way, like nothing will be scheduled on node 1, on the manager node now. So that's the way training work. And to give you one quick example, if I create a global service now, so it will kick off build on node 1 and node 2 only. I have choose same name, it will give error because demo we already picked, right, because it is already existing. So let's pick it, make it demo global. Again, that's typo, but that's fine. The service will get created this time, I'm sure. Okay, it's got created. Let's check the config. Node 1 and node 2, because manager is not acting as a worker now. So global service will only gets created on the worker nodes. So that's it in this session, guys. If you have any query, any suggestion, just leave a comment on my YouTube channel. Thank you guys. Stay tuned.